on the current reality. And then it's not, okay, now we create an idea kind of how the future could look like. No, that's the old way. That's not what we try to do. What we try to do is stay with it. So you stay with it, but you're not staying as a little piece of that, current reality. You extend your consciousness to the whole. And by kind of intensifying the consciousness on the current reality, sculpture one, you begin to attend to, the attention moves to where is the movement coming from. So where is kind of maybe a moment of energy, kind of where's something, where's the crack opening first? When it happens, what do I do inside that sculpture? I do this, attending, staying with it. I'm not jumping to the next idea, I'm staying with it. And then the third element is moving with it. That's the right-hand side of the U. Right? Attending, staying with it is really, now, being comfortable with stillness, with not knowing, with just being there, attending. And then the moving with it is you attend to the movement, and then you go with it as it desires. That moves us into sculpture 2. It's not an abstract idea, it's something that comes out of the system itself. So what's the trick between sculpture 1 and sculpture 2? It's this. Attending, staying with it, and then noticing and moving with it as it kind of desires. So that's so when we look at for example, yesterday, when we would kind of redo it, right? We probably wouldn't take a break. We may not even perform just the first sculpture. It's like, because that, creates an adequate holding space. We would just kind of hold the first one, move it, in a smaller container, move it into a second sculpture, and then hold as you move into sculpture 2. The moving with it means then you just stay there. You're just staying in the same space, and you start debriefing. You start kind of mining all the experiences, which is then generating lenses, perspectives that you can apply to like the systems design situation. And then I think one group yesterday, then after they did that, they then stepped back and said, okay, so for the design challenge, so again, now, okay, so we did that, and now we say brainstorming, we move into the brainstorming prototyping space. How do we do it? There are two ways of doing it. One is you just leave one and just do the next activity, right, because it's on schedule now. The other one is attending, staying with it, moving with it. So what did this one group do? They said, well, wait a minute. What was that? Kind of the sculpture 1, sculpture 2, really two totally different emotional spaces, right? So let's let's level that up like on a conceptual level. So that experience was about this. This is about this. So we could have, there are like here, in other projects, kind of what's so great about sculpture 1, sculpture 2, it is on a systems level, it clearly shows you kind of the essence of the current system. So when you come to the prototyping and you want to make it revolutionary, kind of really new, how do you define that? Well, transforming the old sculpture, right? Do you do something that transforms that old body, right, that we had in the So that's a very tangible criteria you have. So not move into a prototyping activity if it's not, you know, connected, if it's not felt, if kind of the crack isn't explored into all its the system and the personal and so forth dimension. Deepen, remember kind of the first word on, I think, Bob's slide, kind of power of intention, right? Prototyping, designing, kind of, and the change work we all do leverages the power of intention. Deepen and clarify purpose of intention all the time. It's never done. It's always, just as Rebo said, so it's like reconnecting with that, kind of, and connecting with that deeper intention. The universe is a helpful place. If the future knocks, first say yes and then think about how to do it. So all the best ideas never come out of our mind. They are coming from outside, and that's really the key principle of prototyping. So all the great ideas, all the best things that ever happened to me, all came from outside. And my first reaction is, no, I can't do even that. And so it's like noticing, just being more disciplined in taking in what's being suggested from outside, what the universe is suggesting. And even though you hate it, what they tell you, at least in a quiet hour, still think about it. Kind of be honest, kind of capture the data. And seek it with your hands. Engage, you know, so we talked about that, right? That's, you know, we did some of that. Engage users and other stakeholders, learn by doing. As Ela said, kind of fail soon to learn fast. So that's, so it's not implementing an idea, it's kind of exploring that possibility and learning from the failure. A little bit kind of what we also did, right? So we tried this and that, and there's a crack, but what can we learn from that? How can we use that experience to evolve our idea, our concept, our method? Create a holding space for prototyping. Well, that's a lot, like for this collective. So it's, we all know, we have these moments. We go back into the old system. We are sucked back into the old system. And then what? So we need to create like a holding space that allows for that field of the future not to only land, but also to, you know, come more into embodiment, to connect, to be nurtured, to grow, to unfold. So that is, what does that, it involves kind of, you know, a lot of things. And that's what we want to explore a little bit more this afternoon, and where we also where we can learn a lot from each other. That's just a little bit like setting the stage, or that's like kind of how we move, how we want to move into the prototyping conversations, which is really taking a piece of what has been opening for me. So we, in terms of our process, kind of through the first part, we covered a lot of these early things, a little bit. And now kind of let's kind of take a piece of it and move it more into reality. So let's take 2 minutes.